How to learn about money and investing and what no one tells you. You are going to be thrilled or really irritated by the time I'm done talking to you today. Because some of you are going to why wasn't I told these things? I love that reaction from my clients. That's my favorite reaction is I didn't learn this in school and I didn't even know about it. I think what I'm going to tell you today should be taught in junior high. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade should easily be taught these concepts. So then you can choose to go be an employee. You could choose to be an entrepreneur. You could actually choose to start investing and knowing what's going on. And stop blaming your parents. They did their best to do whatever they did to you. You're now a grown adult if you're 18 years old and listening to this. So let's get jamming and talk about a few things. So here's the topics we're going to go through in the whole concept of what you're not taught about money and investing. Who taught you? What books you need to read? How to build a 6-7 figure business. For those of you who really want to grow up, you can build 8 and 9. How to live a wealth cycle versus a lifestyle cycle. How to be like the wealthy and live like successful people. If you want to be a millionaire, you got to come hang out with us. And you say, oh, you're not accessible. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of gurus that aren't. But guess what? When you're my client, I'm your mentor. You get my cell phone number. You get my text number. You can call me and say, hey, I have a 5-minute question. I get those all day long. I love it. I love helping you guys figure it out because what you know about money is freaking wrong. It is so, you should just be horrified. All right, I'm gonna talk about, again, I beat this horse to death, good debt and bad debt. You have got to figure this out. Good debt is one of the greatest assets to leverage yourself to a 3 to 5 year millionaire. Not negotiable. I'm going to, not well, I don't like that part. It's not negotiable. And then how to make money really fast. So we got a lot of topics. So let's go one by one and knock them out. All right. And I have tons of resources for you. So stay to the end. I'm going to give you some goodies and not goodies you've ever seen before or had before. I think my team, they don't even know about it. They're going to be shocked. They'll be, what? Why are you doing that? Because we can't. Who taught you about money? All right, and so actually I want to take a little pause. If you have not got a journal or a pen or paper, it's time to start doing that. I'm going to be doing YouTube Lives. You need to be on this channel on a regular basis. You need to hit subscribe, click the notification button. I'm here 5 days a week, 10 to 15 minutes. So if you're not engaging in what you want, I can't read your mind. You have to talk to me. All right, so who taught you about money? I want you to write that down. Right? Just write down kind of the top 3 to 5 people who influenced your life about money. And then right next to it, what were the conversations? Right? And we all know the traditional ones. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are bad. Blah, blah, blah. Money makes you evil. Blah, blah, blah. All whatever that is for you. The worst thing parents could say, the worst things that parents could say is don't ask. If you go into a store, you're going to do something, don't ask for it. Also, we can't afford it. So what those just even those 2 patterns, if you use those 2 words, we can't afford it and don't ask for it. Up until 8 years old, until a kid's brain really matures, they internalize that in their subconscious as I'm not worth it and I don't deserve it. So why do we have all this screwed up stuff in the planet? Is most people have been told those 2 things. Don't ask for it and we can't afford it. So then the kid takes it personally. They think it's their fault and they internalize it and then they grow up to be, interesting adults who have to do a lot of therapy. My therapy is about 1.1 minute. We're going to get you into new action, get you new results, and the past will correct itself. It's going to atrophy is the way I'm going to talk to you about it. So who influenced you and what were the conversations? What I want you to do is I want you to flip the conversations. You can afford anything you want. So interesting, I was in a conference last week and a woman showed me my saying, money comes easily and frequently is what I said in The Secret. And she said, money comes frequently and easily and frequently, and she had it written out. And I said, oh no, you have to put their quote by Loral Langemeier on there. That was from The Secret. Because, I didn't believe that for a long time, and I spoke about it in The Secret. And if you haven't watched it, go back and get it. I believe it's on Netflix. You can check it out over there. But it's interesting. So you're going to say these positive things to yourself. You're going to say you deserve things. I call it the act as if principle. You're going to act as if you're the expert that you're becoming. You're going to act as if you're the millionaire. When I first joined the Rich Dad Poor Dad team, I wasn't a millionaire. And people would say, well, who are you to, tell me what to do? And I said, because I'm on my way to being a millionaire. You can either come with me or stay here and stay broke. I'm getting a team and I'm going. And this was 1996. By 99, I was a millionaire. So in the beginning, it feels like you're kind of faking and like you're lying because you're saying, money comes easily and frequently. And then the true behavior of your day, it sucks and it's not easy and it's hard. Now, there's 2 big things that we do in our community, especially if you're at the big table. We teach you teams and systems. And even some of you that are watching that are at the big table, you're still not using enough team and enough system. appropriately. You've got to use a team, you got to use a system. Two of the biggest mistakes that I made is I didn't hire fast enough and I didn't grow them fast enough, and I wasn't willing to spend the money on the systems. You have to spend money on the systems like your database, your basic CRM, to build so you have somebody to always sell to. All right, so who taught you about money and what were the conversations? We need to flip it. You're gonna live, I want you to write it down, in the act as if principle. You're gonna act as if you're becoming a millionaire. This is the 3 to 5 year plan. It has worked since 2006. We've made thousands and thousands of millionaires, all 6 continents around the world. So if you say, well, that works for other people, not me, again, notice your psychology. Wrong language, wrong conversation. When you say you can't afford it, that's not the conversation. It's what do you want and what are you willing to do is the conversation. You can afford anything you want if you actually put your mind to it and got good mentoring and good coaching and a sequence to it. Now, let's go to the next topic. What books do you need to read? Mine. All right, so we're going to start. I'll go through the books. And some of you might know, but I actually think that there's a lot of you that think this is all happening in osmosis. So, meaning you're not reading them. You need to dig in. This is the book number 1. So the way you read the Millionaire Maker book is you read chapters 1 to 3. You do a gap analysis, you go over to Ask Loral, and you send it in and say, could I talk to somebody on Loral's team one-on-one about my gap? So a gap is where are you and what do you want? Right? I call it your freedom day. There's no such thing as retirement. That's an agricultural word that means to put cattle to pasture or die. You're not a cow, you're not dying. So if you've quit your job or you're like technically according to the public world retired, I would just say I'm in a transition. Stop using the word retired. Stop using words that don't benefit you. So I want a gap analysis. Then you're going to go on and read the sequencing. Sequencing is our secret sauce, right? I kind of created that as I became a millionaire because what I realized in my mentoring is I was doing a lot of the right things. I would bet a lot of you, put in the chat below, how many of you are doing the right things? I bet a lot of you are doing the right things, but they're out of order. So sequencing is do the right thing at the right time, right? And then with mentoring and coaching, you avoid costly mistakes, you pick up the speed, you get teams and systems, and you get a hell of a Rolodex from a great mentor. So let's move. Then what you do is you read the rest of the book. And you can kind of skim it, kind of get into the first couple chapters. There's 7 families that are true stories. They all became millionaires. And there's these cool blueprints on what we did to help them move. You know, bring your brain. Like, how does the pattern? This was their sequence and their pattern. So what's yours? So once you figure that out, then we got to keep moving. What other book do you read? Well, now you got to make a bunch of money. I'm going to come back to this one in a little bit. This is how to build a 6-7-figure business. Right? If you're really, really good, we can take you to 8. So cash machine is a term I use. I would rather have you have a cash machine than a business because the statistic of business is 90% fail. The reason why 6 figures is difficult to get to is because we're taught to be employees, not entrepreneurs. This is not a difficult conversation. You just don't know. And then the other part that just makes it challenging, not only in business, but there's so much crap that's on the internet and it's out of order, it's out of sequence, it's little pieces and you have to put it together. You're not the coach, you're not the mentor, you're not the person who knows how to put all these pieces together. Meaning, you know, if you think about your wealth team, you might have a marketing specialist in your business, right? You may have a sales team, you may have an accountant, you may have a financial planner, you may have somebody in insurance. Who's coaching? Who's quarterbacking that whole team playing together? That's my job, is to educate you and then you lead your team. All right, so I know a lot of you think I give advice. I don't. I wouldn't even know how to walk that way and give advice. I give education and I give a sequence to what can get you there faster. But a business is critical. So how do you become a millionaire? You got to make money, right? And again, I'm giving you a bunch of gifts at the end of this recording. So make sure you stay tuned because we got to give you a bunch of gifts away. Now, once you start making it, guess what you'd have to do next? You need to keep it inside corporate structure. I want you to go to the search bar and look up how to live corporate life. I want you to do a whole piece on tax deductions because all of you probably are not deducting enough because you're scared of the IRS. The IRS is your friend. Yes, they've just hired 87,000 new agents. Don't get all worried about being audited. If you're doing everything right, we do things the way we teach you, which is super responsible and not commingled and super organized, you should be fine. Right? And if you're not fine, call us again, go to askloral.com. You can tell that's where I want all your questions on a regular basis if we're not live out here. Now, once you learn to make it and keep it, you have to learn to invest it. I'm going to come back to this topic and go thoroughly through what is a wealth cycle. I made that word up because what I noticed is you're in a lifestyle cycle. So wealth cycle investing is when you make it and you invest it. So income to assets, and then you get this cycle of money moving through your life. I want you to start it as young as your teenagers. Parents, you have to help your kids until they're 18 and a legal adult. Once you start making, keeping, and investing, you got to use a team. So I've spent over 20 years assembling a team that are licensed, that are advisors, that can give you the advice. I don't, I educate you, I hand you out to them, and they are an amazing team for you if you're serious about this. But here's the biggest thing, just being on my YouTube channel 5 days a week and really being in the conversation about money. I mean, I want you in the communities about money. Like, that's what we do. We talk about it all the time. I was just in a mastermind. I was down with Rudy, and he said, you know, I get on the treadmill every day. And I get on the treadmill every day, meaning we get up and we go to work, but we're doing what we want to do. As entrepreneurs, we go and we hang out with our teams. We create new stuff. I have a new conference coming up. It's our Gen W conference, Generational Wealth Conference. Phenomenal. October 26, 27, 28. So starts around 1 o'clock. So you can fly in the morning of the 26th. We start around 1 o'clock. And we're getting deep into this conversation about money and legacy and why generational wealth doesn't happen. When I became a single mom with Logan and then had my daughter Tristan, I wanted to do it different. I didn't want a surprise basket at the end and hope they could figure out what to do with the money that I'm leaving them. And I chose to do it this way. That's not happening. It doesn't happen to a lot of families. They get what I call the surprise basket. So, you know, mom or dad dies and then the kids go to war and they fight about it because there was no plan for the legacy. There was no plan that needed to happen. That's what I'm passionate about. So click on the link below. Gen W tickets are on sale. We're at the Grand Sierra Resort, beautiful ballroom. If you want to be a sponsor, you can be a sponsor. If you want to be an affiliate, you can be an affiliate. Check out our site. We just put that link in there. You got to have a team, and we have built a team for you. So again, how do you become a millionaire? Who taught you about money, and what books do you read? You start here, then you read The Cash Machine, then you would read The Wealth Cycles, then this one just came out, and if you haven't got it, go to makeyourkidsmillionaires.com. The reason I want you to go to that site specifically, there's a whole bunch of bonuses, thousands of dollars of bonuses we're still giving away to those of you who go do this. So then you bring the conversation into your home. What other books should you be reading? Well, I think the Rich Dad Poor Dad series did put this whole conversation on the map. I would say they're the, what to do and I'm the how to do it. Let's see, there's all sorts. I love Blue Ocean Strategies. I love Atomic Habits. I love the good old greats, Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I love Keith Cunningham stuff. I love Bob Proctor stuff. So you want to get in reading success books. You want to be in a successful conversation, being where people are, learning how we talk, learning how we hang out. I mean, even just going out with a group of people for dinner. Most people that live in their employee, paycheck to paycheck, they nickel and dime the check when it comes. That's not how we roll. I pick it up sometimes, they pick it up sometimes. Like, there's this nickel and diming that you do to each other that's just so insane. And the scarcity of that drives me crazy. So I really want you to think, who taught you? What are you reading? Who are you hanging out with? And if you're around a bunch of negative people, well, get rid of them. And now I'm not saying being rude, just atrophy them. You're going to start leaning in. Come to Ask Loral on a regular basis. Come to my YouTube channel. Engage. Be in a conversation. We have calls every day, all week long. Probably not on a Saturday and Sunday necessarily. Sometimes we do. But I want you in this conversation. So with the people around you, just stop talking about money. It's just an interesting opinion. You don't know. They're not your mentor. They're not your coach. It's just, hey, did you hear about that great deal? Well, who's doing the due diligence? Who's doing the assessing? You all kind of get yourselves in a lot of trouble hanging out with who you're hanging out with. So we'll be your financial family in our financial conversation, and you atrophy those people. If they're not interested, I can promise you, you will have nothing to talk to them about later in life. Like, what are you going to talk about? My family still says, why haven't you ever gone back to a high school reunion? I said, what would we talk about? Here's how it would go. Oh my gosh, you're the millionaire maker. Tell us how you did it. I don't go backwards, I go forwards. And a lot of you keep leaning backwards because you want the life you had at a different time. I want you to move forward to the life that you deserve and that you can have. Somebody in the household has a skill set to make $50 an hour. You could tutor, you could do videography, you could go fix somebody's social site. So you staying broke is a choice.